Buh, 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 jump on it, let's do it, ride my pony. Hello and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies with special guest Tim Davis. This is the podcast where all three of us went and saw a movie at our local Regal Cinema Theater, and now we're going to talk about it in Matt's Honda Pilot, in the parking lot. Fresh in our minds this movie. We're going to talk about things like, should you see this movie? Should you skip this movie? Should you see it in theaters or should you wait for streaming? How did we feel about it? Oh, is it going to stay with us or are we going to forget it tonight? You know, all these things we try so hard for you to cover. But again, we make no promises. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy. And yes, welcome Tim back for this exciting episode.
Glad to be here.
Well, tonight we saw a fine movie, the third installment in the Magic Mike saga, if you will. Magic Mike's Last Dance is the name of it. Yes. We really don't have many returning appearances in this movie from other Magic Mike's movie, other than Magic Mike himself, Channing Tatum. There are some other old strippers who appear on a Zoom call, but that's about it.
Yes.
And as far as famous people, you've got your Channing Tatum, and you've got your Salma Hayek, now Salma Hayek Pinot.
I'm not sure how to say it.
It sounds French to me.
Pinois.
Could be. Well, anyway, apparently she's taken on another last name.
Fair enough.
But anyway, that's...
Sorry.
Wow.
Sorry.
Whoa.
Hopefully that's the only one.
Oh, gosh.
My side hurts a little bit.
Uh-huh.
It was
You crack a rib on that sneeze there?
I mean, it feels like it, honestly.
All right. Well...
Todd's last sneeze.
Oh, yes. So, yeah, they're the only famous people in this movie. What is this movie about? Well, it's about Magic Mike, former stripper, former furniture making person. Both of those careers are over, and now he finds himself doing some bartending and meets up with Salma Hayek's character, whose name is Maxandra.
Maxandra, yeah.
Which is a name that I've never heard before.
That is fair.
But, yeah, so he meets her at a party. She's a rich lady having a benefit party, and he ends up, even though he's retired, goes back to his roots, gives her an old lap dance, and it's off to the races. From there, she decides that he should come to London with her, where she normally lives, and choreograph a dance show at a theater that she owns. And so the movie is about a couple different things, but the main focus of the movie is this dance show and getting it ready to go and having the show happen. In the meantime, there's a romantic attraction between Salma Hayek's character and Channing Tatum's character. And there's also her ongoing divorce saga that's happening during this because she's getting divorced. That's really what the movie is about, or that's what happens in it anyway. And that's what I'm going to say about it. And now, Todd, I call upon you to give us your gut reaction for Magic Mike's Last Dance.
And I will answer the call. Selfishly, I've been a fan of the Magic Mike series.
Yep.
And
Unapologetically.
Unapologetically, yes. Gut reaction to this one is that this one's very different than the other two.
Yes.
It goes a little bit more on the serious side, which I just wasn't expecting. I'm not saying it's bad or good. It just threw me for a curveball, honestly. I kind of was looking for just a third movie of just like the gang getting back together and seeing all the old guys and stuff like that. So, I mean, I got to be honest, I was a little disappointed that they're really not in the movie. They're in one Zoom call, and that's it. And that was kind of, honestly, that was a letdown for me. But I think there's like, I mean, the movie definitely goes for a more serious tone of like, and it's almost like more about women than it is about male stripping and women empowerment and stuff like that. So, I mean, I think I just was thrown for a curve. It was hard for me to like zero back in once I kind of like figured out that those guys were probably not going to be in it at all. I was kind of hoping for something flashy with them in it or something like that, but it just really didn't happen. But outside of that, I'm a fan of old C. Tate's. You know, I'll go see a movie if he's in it, and I think he pretty much did exactly what he's done in every Magic Mike movie in this one. I'm not saying it's stellar acting. I'm not saying it's bad acting. I'm just saying it's like he kind of knows the role because the role is kind of him, I guess. So, Selma Hayek really tried her, like she really like was swinging for the fences, and I think in most scenes I think she did a really great job. A couple of scenes I was kind of like, you tried way too hard here. And then on the technical side of things, I noticed a couple of like just almost rough transitions in the filming and stuff like that. Like there was one like kind of scene that just like, I don't know how it's burned in my mind at this point, where it's like a close up on someone and then the camera just goes like this for a second while they went from center frame to the right, and it just kind of, that was it. And I was like, I don't understand. Like it feels like I caught a couple of mistakes that slipped through the cracks here of this movie. So, all right, trying to get down to the old business here. Should people see this movie? Well, if you're a fan of the series, then sure, absolutely. You know, why not finish out the trilogy here? If you've never seen a Magic Mike movie and the first two didn't interest you, I'm not sure if I can really say, oh yeah, come see the third one because it's going to blow you away or anything. I mean, it's more of a serious tone and stuff, so maybe that'll draw some people, but, you know, I don't think we're getting a 5-star movie here. And, you know, I don't know if anything would be like, wow, you have to see this in theaters. I mean, we had a fun audience in the theater today, which was kind of nice. Like, typically I'm not a fan of people talking or cheering or anything like that, but this felt like the kind of movie that was. And we had some lively ladies that were, you know, hooting and hollering, which was fun. So, I mean, if you're able to get an experience like that, then great, but you can't control that. So, I'm going to say there's not really a reason to see this in theaters unless you are a fan of C-Tates or you're a fan of the series and you want to finish strong, or you're just an avid moviegoer like us, then sure. But
even a girls' night out.
Yeah, girls' night out, guys' night out, if that's your thing, sure. People night out, if that's your thing.
Yep.
And, yeah, so I mean, like, you know, those are the kind of the circumstances I feel like for people to see this movie in the theater. In general, if you've watched the first two, then complete the journey. You may not have to see it in theaters, but complete the journey. Why not? You know, live a little. So, I think that's me. I'm saying there's no reason really besides what I spelled out to see it in theaters, but I think if you've been along for the journey, people should see it in general. Close it out. And I always support people supporting C-Tates. So, that's where I'm going to leave it. Tim, what did you feel about this little ditty of a number of a thing movie?
Yes, I think, like you, I was thrown a little for a loop by the shift in tone in the franchise here. I think it was all on purpose, clearly, and they really wanted to. This was a female empowerment movie with male strippers in it.
Right.
And so they were trying to, I think, reverse tropes and kind of, you know, play against type by doing that. And I think they mostly succeed. I think it hits what the audience is going for.
Yes.
I can't speak to that per se, but I feel like it did and it tried to. And I agree with you that, you know, Channing Tatum does what he does best, which is just basically play Channing Tatum, kind of dorky, kind of confident when he needs to be.
Kind of like a confident, cool type of.
Yeah,
like,
confident, cool, but also like he's self-deprecating and he's and he's under the breath comments that are really clever. But he's and a great dancer, and he still is. And Salma, definitely, this was her vehicle. She clearly embraced the role and tried to really throw herself into it. I do agree that she at times she was almost trying too hard when she could have actually dialed back a little. But I think those were the choices they wanted to go for, and they wanted to portray her as a fully realized woman who goes through mood swings and is kind of going through this crisis in her life at her age. And I think it portrayed it mostly realistically, how someone can swing back and forth, and everybody around her knows that, and it's just kind of like, well, right now she's in this phase, and tomorrow she'll be in this phase, and it's okay. And I think it's definitely a different movie. I agree, and like if you're a Magic Mike fan, or at least have followed the movies and you want to see where his character ends up, this is perfectly fine final act. Is it a must see in theaters? I agree with you, Todd. No, it's not. Like I said, unless it's a girls' night out, a guys' night out, etc. You can wait for video on this one. But it does feel like a good coda for the story. I feel like, but do we need any more Magic Mike? Probably not, because it's definitely felt the most disconnected as well. We didn't get much closure on the rest of the guys, just a goofy little Zoom call, which was pretty accurate for a Zoom call. As most movies, they're like super clear and everything, but of course everybody had crappy Wi-Fi, just like in real life, and that actually made that scene funny to me. Yeah, I mean, the dancing is spectacular. Of course, they hired real dancers. I would argue this time, like, whereas the first two movies, you really got to know the dancers. In this one, they're just faceless, nameless people. And I thought that was an interesting choice because they were so focused on this empowerment story that the dancers this time were really the window dressing. And so I thought that was
they didn't even name the woman dancer.
I thought that was
she's just the ballerina.
Interesting shift. And
find me a ballerina.
Yeah, it was an interesting shift as far as focus, but I mean, it seemed to be all the choice. And if you're a Soderbergh fan, it's definitely his style of movie, the way he directs. And so I mean, did I love it? No. Did I hate it? No, not at all. It's a perfectly fine way to spend a night. But like you said, it's not a must-see. I wouldn't scream must-see about it.
Sure.
But I do love Channing Tatum as well, and I think he also should be supported because I have yet to be disappointed in a role he's ever done. Matt?
Fair enough.
So, I did notice some of the things that you mentioned, Todd, about the weird, like, cinematography, editing cuts, and there were some shots that it was just like, why are they focusing on the guy driving the car's eyes at this particular moment?
I feel like Soderbergh does that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
like that's why I guess it didn't catch me as well. I mean, yeah, it's another. It reminded me it was a Soderbergh film when that stuff would show up. I'm like, that's his tick. I'm not sure why. Yeah.
Well, it distracted me.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that part of it. This is a sexy movie.
Yes.
There is.
That's a good way to say it.
There is plenty. If you are the type of person who maybe has gone to a strip club before, male strip club, there's plenty of that type of
bumping and grinding
dancing.
Simulated
not that I have, but
yeah.
I'm assuming
not yet.
Not yet. maybe next week.
Well, you've seen a few Magic Mikes. I mean,
yeah, I've seen a few Magic Mikes, so I'm basically an expert. But there's even there's parts that are sexy with females too in this movie. So regardless of what you're looking for, you'll find some of it in that type of genre. I will say that, like Tim, I didn't really have a strong opinion one way or the other. However, for a long time, one of my celebrity crushes has been Salma Hayek.
Oh, yeah.
And so her being in this movie gets a few more rating points from me for sure. Always like to see her.
Well, it's funny to me that, like, so one of her super early roles was, like, in the Tarantino movie From Dusk to Dawn, where she is kind of playing a vampire stripper or whatever, and there's a whole thing in the movie where she does this, like, big old striptease and stuff. And now she's fast forward to now, and people are stripping for her. We've come full circle, Salma.
Full circle.
Sorry, Salma.
Yes. So anyway, I always enjoy seeing her. She's aged gracefully and looks great still. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys on who should see this movie. If you're doing like a fun night out where you want to hoot and holler.
If you got a rowdy bunch,
night
this
in.
is right up your alley.
It could be a rowdy movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you've watched Magic Mike movies, you might want to see how good old Mike ends up. But yeah, I don't think it's a must see by any means.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm gonna leave it.
Fantastic. So, how many weight-bearing shelving units would you give this movie, which comes into play in this movie in very creative ways, I must admit.
Yeah.
5 being the best, because then you got all these shelving units
Plenty
that you
of
can, jump on and do your dance and make it a little sexy time. And then 0 being the worst, because then you just got, like you're just on the floor. Who cares? You got no props and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with Matt.
Yes, we'll start with me.
As we do.
And I'm going to go, I'm going to say the shelving units that I felt about this movie was exactly 2.5 shelving units. Not too few, not too many, just right down the middle. An average movie. Would have been below average without my crush in the movie. But she raises it up to an average film, which is where I will end up. 2.5 shelving units out of 5.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Tim?
Matt and I are on the same page
Simpatico.
exactly today. I was thinking 2.5 as I walked out of the theater. Because like you said, it's right in the middle there. I was enjoying myself. I didn't check my watch at all. But was I going, wow, this is so fascinating? No. But I was able to sit back, enjoy it, and that's what a movie should do. And if you're an average movie, that's your success. So 2.5 for me as well.
Fair. I think I would have been right there with you guys, like 100%. But all I could think about during this movie was Magic Mike's story on a whole, right? And,
this was not his.
I was kind of sad that, like, thinking about the first one where his dream is to just build furniture and, like, it's like a passion and and then the second one is that he goes on a trip to raise money because he wants to save his business. And then coming into this one, his business is under and he's a bartender and he kind of goes back to dancing. I was kind of like, I get the story-wise, but I wanted a different ending for Magic Mike.
Yeah, I get it.
So that kind of took me down a little bit. I feel like this was not a great conclusion to Mike's journey, which is kind of sad to me. Not bad, just not great. So I'm at a 2.3.
Okay.
It didn't completely take me out of the movie for sure. All the fun parts were fun. I like it's a very rambunctious feel of a movie, so people can get really involved. But as a fan of the franchise, my gut reaction is I'm not totally satisfied with the conclusion of his story.
Got it.
Is kind of where I'm at.
All right. Well, any last thoughts before we wrap up?
We, of course, invite Salma and C-Tates to be on the podcast if they want to talk about this movie. If C-Tates wants to defend himself on Magic Mike's journey, I'm willing to debate him.
All right. Something that I'll mention is that we have actually reviewed Magic Mike on the podcast.
That's right. I forgot during our Netflix pandemic era, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
I mean, it must be because
And we gave it a rating of not very good.
That was the original Magic Mike?
Yeah.
Or XXL?
The original one.
Okay.
I think we gave it 2.12
Interesting.
if my spreadsheet holds up. So anyway,
wait, did you just look it up?
I did look
Oh,
it up
okay.
earlier.
I thought you were guessing.
Wow. I
I'm guessing a little
Rated
bit
higher
because
than
I
this
didn't know if I remember it properly, but I did look at it recently.
Interesting.
So,
I definitely think Magic Mike was the best of the three.
well, according to gut reaction
Yeah, I mean,
status,
can't argue with the gut reaction.
I
Yeah.
wasn't on there, but yeah.
you were not. Well, anyway, so yeah,
I believe some of the reasons why, not that I didn't like the movie, but some of my dings and points were the fact that they I wasn't super against the casting of Kevin Nash, but it's so blatantly obvious that in every dance scene, the camera purposely avoids him because he
Probably
can't
wasn't
move.
good at it.
You know, and I'm like, if that's the case for your male stripper movie, don't cast him.
Yeah, that's fair.
yes. Well,
Anyway.
that is going to wrap it up for this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies with Tim Davis on the set. And we gave Magic Mike's Last Dance an average rating of 2.4 and 1/3 of a tenth of a shelving unit out of 5.
That's still plenty of shelving.
Just a touch below average. And we recommend seeing it in very limited circumstances, which we've detailed already. I won't go into that again.
And probably without younger kids around.
Yes.
It's true. This
It is
isn't
not a kid's movie.
It's not a kid's movie. This is a sexy movie.
This is get some wine, invite the ladies over, or the guys, or the people that you know,
Yep.
and
Enjoy yourself.
relax, enjoy yourself.
Or date night. It could be a good date night.
Be a good
I
movie as
mean,
well.
you and I both invited our lady friends, but they didn't come. So,
They declined.
yeah.
Oh well. Well, anyway, thank you to all listeners and subscribers for participating and partaking in this podcast. And we will see you next time.
Da 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 da
Da da
da da da.
da da da.